I think that they should be hired based off their competency, not their race.
We totally agree, right?
Okay.
So what DEI does in practice, not in theory, is it focuses on race more than competency. And
Okay.
that is our concern.
Okay.
And so what I want, and you seem, you know, very passionate about a lot of things, and you obviously have skills. For your life, I want you always to be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin.
This college student thought he was ready to challenge Charlie Kirk until he actually tried. What started as a bold call-out over a t-shirt turned into a master class on calm dismantling of weak arguments. Let's break down how it all unfolded.
Charlie, my guy, what's up, guy? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. What's up, Charlie? So I am a second-year master's student in student affairs, and I see you got an anti-DEI shirt on, so this is about to get good. I personally believe in DEI. I think that actually helps with creating inclusivity within PWIs and predominantly white institutions. And I also believe that, not going to FSU, that's where I go at. But I also believe that this is the reason why I wanted to get into student affairs, because I believe that with the DEI being present within our campuses, we actually are able to build inclusivity for students who are first gen, for minoritized students, for veteran students who are coming onto these campuses and actually being able to feel like they have somewhere for them on campus.
So, right out the gate, the student takes a swing calling out Kirk for wearing an anti-DEI shirt. His tone, confident, his reasoning, standard talking points, diversity, equity, inclusion equals progress. But here's the twist. When Kirk pushes back with basic definitions and real-world impact, the student's message gets murky fast.
Well, I understand the counter argument, but I'm gonna let you go first. I'm sorry.
Well, instead of debating DEI, why don't you define it further so we can make sure we're talking about the same thing?
Got you. So diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I know what that means.
Okay, my fault.
I would say DEI stands for didn't earn it, but that's a separate issue.
Ooh, didn't earn it. You been working on that? Type. So yes, a lot of people think that, and in that regards, which is a counter argument to it. But I honestly believe that the fact that you got to this point where you was already unrepresented on these campuses already shows that you did actually earn to get those fundings, did actually earn to get that inclusivity tailored to you. Because the fact that you even made it to the campus where a lot of people in disproportionate communities don't make it a lot out of, at least you can have is a place on campus where you feel included.
This is where the cracks start showing. Instead of making a clear argument, the student throws out buzzwords first gen, inclusivity, minoritized students, without addressing the core question. Should race be prioritized over merit? Kirk sees the opening, asks if hiring should be based on race or competence, and the student agrees with competence. Oops.
That would be my argument.
Yeah, so I don't know what DEI looks like on this campus. So I can't speak to that. Let's try to find some common ground.
Okay.
Do you think people should be hired based on their race or their competency?
I don't think that. I think they should be race.
Which one?
My fault. I'm sorry. My fault. I think that they should be hired based off their competency, not their race.
We totally agree, right?
Okay.
So what DEI does in practice, not in theory, is it focuses on race more than competency. And
Okay.
that is our concern.
Okay.
And so what I want, and you seem, you know, very passionate about a lot of things, and you obviously have skills. For your life, I want you always to be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. Which is actually, as you know, Martin Luther King gave this big speech, and yeah, I know, but he is an ideal. I agree with this sentence for sure. Where DEI says, no, we're actually going to care more about skin color than competency.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we want is an America based on merit, America based on how hard you work, an America based on what you bring to the table, not just what you look like.
I got you, and I understand that as very well, and I think that that's a profound position to have with it. And
No, you're good.
and I know you gotta go, so
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay.
Now the debate shifts. Kirk drops the MLK quote, argues DEI betrays King's dream, and the student tries to salvage his position with a curveball claiming MLK would have supported Black Lives Matter. But instead of strengthening his case, he drifts off into shaky historical claims. And in the end, they both agree judging people by race isn't ideal. Irony much.
Last thing is, and I'll make it short because we aren't going to agree on that, but agree on the whole anti-DEI act movement. But I will say that Drake or Kendrick Lamar, who won?
I like Kendrick Lamar. I'm not a rapper guy, but I would say at least the only thing I know about this is the anti-pedophile thing, which I support completely.
Okay.
So the fact he goes after Drake for being...
No, you can't say that. Sexy songs for you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Go Drake.
I don't know a single song between either of them. All I know is that if you even engage in pedophile stuff, you're no-go. But can we both agree, though, that the less we talk about race as a country, probably better? That if we look at people as human beings first and not race.
I agree with that.
Okay, we can agree. Thank you, man.
Okay, now let's round up what was said. In those clips, what started as a fiery confrontation over a t-shirt quickly morphed into a clash of philosophies. One student, confident and academically credentialed, stepped up to call out Charlie Kirk for wearing an anti-DEI shirt. But by the end of the conversation, that same student, while still holding on to some of his belief, Shad walked back several key assumptions. That says a lot. It wasn't just a debate. It was a slow unraveling of a popular narrative right in front of the camera. At the core of this discussion was DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. 3 words that sound unassailable in theory but become deeply polarizing in practice. The student made an emotional case. DEI helps first-generation students, minorities, veterans, and the underrepresented. But Kirk wasn't debating feelings. He challenged implementation. He asked, what happens when DEI shifts from inclusion to preference, from fairness to enforced outcomes? And the answers weren't very solid. What made this exchange so revealing was the tannered, just the content. Kirk didn't bulldoze the student. He asked calm, pointed questions. Should people be hired based on race or competence? And that's where the student hesitated. He tried to say both could matter, but when pushed admitted competence should come first. That moment stripped the debate of its abstract armor, because if we agree that merit matters most, then we have to seriously question how DEI often works in the real world, especially when it's tied to hiring, quotas, scholarships, or exclusive programs. Then came the history lesson or attempt at one. The student brought up Martin Luther King Jr. claiming he'd probably support Black Lives Matter today. That might sound compelling until you listen to the full quote he referenced about riots. Yes, MLK said a riot is the language of the unheard, but he also condemned riots as socially destructive and self-defeating. That nuance completely overlooked. Kirk seized the opportunity to show how people cherry-pick history to prop up modern ideologies. And once again, the student was left defending a half-baked point based on selective memory. Here's the thing. Most debates like this fall apart because people talk at each other. But in this case, both sides listened. Especially Kirk, who let the student talk himself into contradictions. That's the power of asking the right questions. Kirk didn't just win by having better facts. He won by letting his opponent reveal the flaws in his own argument. And that's why this debate felt more Like a slow burn than a knockout punch. It didn't explode. It eroded. One of the most underrated moments when both agreed that we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. That's a universal ideal. It cuts across politics. And yet, it's exactly what DEI when weaponized to undermine. Kirk's final message was clear. America should reward effort, excellence, and character, not identity. That message resonated even with someone who walked in trying to argue the opposite. But let's go a layer deeper here. This debate wasn't really about one student and one speaker. It was about two worldviews. One built on equity of opportunity, the other chasing equity of outcome. One rooted in the idea that individuals rise by effort, the other suggesting systems must engineer results. And that's where the biggest danger lies. When we shift from fairness to forced sameness, merit suffers. Excellence is diluted. And ironically, inclusion turns into exclusion just in reverse. Another subtle but important takeaway. Vulnerability and authenticity matter in debate. The student wasn't malicious or combative. He wasn't shouting or calling names. He genuinely believed in what he said. And that's probably why he was willing to listen in the end. That makes the whole exchange valuable because it proves minds can change when pride isn't running the show. That's rare and honestly that's hopeful. Now, let's talk about the cultural backdrop. You heard it in the last part of the video when Kirk and the host pivoted to Kendrick Lamar versus Tyne Drake and even called out how algorithms push cultural distractions onto our screens. That wasn't random. It was a subtle warning. While we're debating real issues like race, merit, and inclusion, we're also being drowned in noise. Manufactured beefs, celebrity spats, trending nonsense. It's easier to stay distracted than to engage. And that's why conversations like this one matter. They pull focus back to ideas, not identities. So, where do we land? Not everything the student said was wrong. Not everything Charlie Kirk said was perfect. But the contrast was clear. One side relied on slogans and emotional appeal, the other on logic, consistency, and evidence. One side kept shifting, the other stood firm. And in a debate, clarity wins. Every time. It's okay to believe in justice and fairness. We all should. But if your worldview can't survive a few honest questions, maybe it's time to reevaluate. That's not defeat. That's growth. And for anyone watching this who's on the fence, let this be a reminder. Don't outsource your thinking. Don't just parrot what's popular. Dig deeper, ask questions, and demand answers that actually make sense. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.